What I'd like to talk about today are two things in particular. The one is the role of leadership in the context of change, and the other is the notion of a new normal. So, in terms of leadership, leaders need to listen with empathy and act with courage. What I mean by that is leaders need to listen deeply to what's being shared with them by employees, by stakeholders, by communities, and then they need to respond with courage. And along with courage, I would say with clarity. And that means every leader in every situation, certainly in every change process, is not going to be able to please everyone. It doesn't happen. And it's a great myth. It's a terrible elephant in the room in the change community that everyone can win through change. And I don't believe that that's true. I believe in any change process, there are winners and losers. And we can see that with the COVID disruption. It's a perfect example. There's certain industries like the airline industry that is terribly hard hit. Tourism, hospitality, conferencing, any situation where you've got large groups of people in a contained, controlled, closed system, closed environment, is very badly hit. Look at online movies, online gaming. These are industries that are doing exceedingly well at the moment. In fact, another interesting thing I found the other day, I went to the bookshop and they're also doing really well because people have time. So there are pros and cons with any change process, and there are winners and losers. And I think we need to take cognizance of that and change as this notion that we're going to sort of rah everybody into a new version of things, in my view, is misguided. My view. Other people can have their view. That's my experience over 18 plus years of doing this. There are winners and losers in any change process. What's critical, though, is that leaders listen carefully. They really understand the tone of an environment that they are engaging with, and then that they feed back to that environment with clarity, honesty, and that's what I mean by courage. So if there's bad news to tell, we need to cut so many jobs, we need to restructure, we need to put a new system in. Guess what? The system you've been using for 8 years and your call center is no longer viable. Tell people the truth, because that allows people to much more easily integrate that information. The other thing that I really want to speak to is that in telling the truth, I think we must be very careful not to create fear and anxiety. And I must say that I am personally quite critical of the way in which the COVID disruption has been communicated globally. It's created an untold level of anxiety, depression, that I think we're only beginning to see the impact of. So I want to say that, firstly, I don't believe in this notion of the new normal. There is going to be no new normal. There's just going to be a period of history called the COVID disruption, as I call it, and we're going to move through this, just like we did the Spanish flu, which killed 50 million people, the Black Death, the 2008 financial crisis, 9/11, World War I, World War II. These are terrible events in history. They are massive change moments in history, but they don't have to define us as this reset or moving into a new space in the world. And frankly, I think it's cynical, and I'm happy to take flack for this, if people feel that we're suddenly going to reconstitute our society into this technologically mapped and connected environment where people don't need one another. In fact, I want to say very strongly on today's video that we are social beings. We are inherently social beings, and we need one another. And a key part of the reason why people are feeling so disrupted and so anxious and so depressed is that we've lost our sense of community that we need so well, so much. And so what I am absolutely assured of is that we're speaking now in the context of distributed work. Yes, flexible work arrangements, what we call distributed work, being able to work from anywhere effectively, and the devices that support that is a good thing. But the notion that every organization on this planet is suddenly going to send all their workers home like Twitter did is a nonsensical idea to me. And any any entity attempting to sell that as the new future is not connected with the reality of human interface, human psychology. And not only that, and here's the really important point, the need for people to connect with one another in order to do creative tasks, innovation, anything related to teamwork, anything related to employee engagement, anything to do with corporate culture. And we are getting more and more calls from organizations saying, please help us. How do we support our people integrate better? How do we help them talk to one another in this disconnected moment of our history? How do we help people find those moments of connection? How do we help them out of their anxiety? And that's why I was really speaking to that earlier. How do we help people out of their anxiety? Because some people are not saying that they don't want to come to work. They feel scared to come to work. Now, if they have comorbidities and if there are health reasons for them wanting, not feeling safe at work, or if their employer hasn't taken care of necessary health protocols, I understand that. But that isn't even the majority of cases that we are hearing about. That's simply because people are feeling immobilized emotionally by the media and the news cycle as it's been washing around us. So I think it's critically important for leaders right now to help contain their people, listen with empathy, send out very clear messages. We will get through the COVID disruption because we are human beings. We are incredibly resilient. We will find a way through this, even if it means that, as with the common flu, it's a virus that might not have a vaccine available anytime soon, and it might be something that we need to get used to as a species. So those are my thoughts. Very happy to hear any feedback from anyone out there. Thank you for all the comments, the suggestions, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.